Okay, a bit of an update. So I've thrown away everything, put everything back on. I'm using the Glaive of Pain. I've changed the bow to Kubragol. That means that these arrows are now kind of useless, which kind of sucks. However, I have the option either to use the balance scale mail. If I do, I get shards, which will allow me to take on the last one of the wolves. And if I use Celeborn, I don't. Both have disenchantment, but this one has a rechargeable use of banishment. Information, check knowledge, monsters. So we said, where is he? Juan is the one I'm concerned about in his Shard's Breath. I'm gonna go look for him and I'll kill him, and probably afterwards I'll switch to this one. The only difference is about 10 points more. I've upped the speed to plus 35, well, plus 36, plus 46 when hasted. So we get about another, it would be 3.6. We're moving to 4. We got an additional 10% from that. So we're dealing, in reality, about 600 damage compared to what we were doing before. It could even go a touch bigger with just a single point of dexterity, but I don't really see a way that we can get it. And we no longer have immunity to fire. So, a bit of a problem. If I switch Narnia instead of Vilja, I will lose even further damage. I might potentially swap it when I fight Gothmog and Rungortin, but for the time being, I've got this one in. Or I could do both, but you know, go from 28 to from 46 down to 38. Well, we'll think about it. Drop that. Shield of Preservation not needed anymore. Trickery not needed. House is full. I'll probably never need these again. These actually do more damage. They do more damage if I'm going to go kill Gothmog. The 5 damage, it really doesn't do any difference. So let's see if I happen to, by any chance, find them along the way. I still don't have resist Nexus. Ooh, a rune of protection. These right now I don't really need anymore. The experience points, a little bit extra experience points is useful if you're going to go into the fight, so that in case that you get drained. Oh. There's a, well, yeah. It's an ether vortex, but a used time, so I'm gonna need a pop-o restoration. You know what? Let's start by throwing the mithril ones away. Come on, Juan. Okay. Am I wearing Celeborn? No, of course not. Because this would have been a really great time to... It would have been a really great time to use Banishment for free. One hit. One hit is already blue with the 700 damage. Let's take it. Yeah, speed is king. And see, for example, these, if I were to use them, 117. Kilbraggle is branded with fire? Oh, I didn't remember that. I mean, it's not like anyone ever uses this to shoot anything. Requirement. Banishment. No preservation that I don't need. I'm using the Shield of Thorium. 114, 210, 114. Weights less, gives me more armor class. Why not? Experience. Well, so there's a whole bunch of free for the taking items down here. Trickery. Yeah, nothing worked. I will get back to you when I found either one of them. We'll do those and then we can go do the final battle. We've got plenty. Just now that actually I do have I slotted in the two rings, so I also have immunity to fire. One protection, 2 banishment. I have too many of these. I'll let you know when I find the last uniques. Well, here he is. If I face right now, chances are that I'll wind up somewhere there. I was a bit stupid that it doesn't show me the full speed. It doesn't show me plus 39. But I got myself caught in this position. But I have immunity to fire. 8,000 hit points. Therefore, I should hit him approximately 11 times or 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, miscounted a bit, but I can teleport. And as they follow, as they chase me, because they move at different speeds and have different maximum distances that they can chase, they all get spread out. And therefore they're easier to teleport. And second round of speed. Failed. So I zapped it 4 times and I failed twice. And if you know some math, that means 27% according to the RNG in this game. 6 good objects. Ooh, Razorback. Okay, good. I mean, I've killed just about every unique in the game, finally. So, immunity to lightning does give me this enchantment. It aggravates. With Morgoth, it's not a problem because Morgoth is already aggravated. He's never sleeping, immediately knows where you are. I get chaos. It doesn't even give me chaos. You know what? So all I would get is an immunity that I already have, but I pay with the aggravation. And 50 plus 31, 50 plus 25. I even lose on the armor class. These I can just wreck them like that. Look of a man. We go split 7. Rubbish. Okay, well, those 2 guys are dead. We still need the wolf. I will take this. I'll take this and drop. Did I kill Calagon? In the end, I'm not sure I have. I did kill Calagon. Okay. It's just 1. And obviously the Tarrasque. Not needed anymore. Let you know when I find him. Right, he has shown up finally. Just checking, this is in fact the one with sound and shards, but no activation. I can probably just go around, teleport that Master Mystic again. He wakes up very easily. Speed, faster, okay. And should be easy. I've got everything. I can even slot. How much is he? 70,000? 72. Well, sometimes you see these things that say, it was a superb hit. It was a good hit. It was a great hit. Those are the criticals, and they happen more often based on how much your weapon weighs. And he... have I not got immunity to cold? No, it's the one I haven't got. Heal earlier before you need it. At this point, his breath weapon does a fraction, so... I think that's it. That is it. Check knowledge, monster, nothing, nothing. Ariel, at this point, the Phoenix is more dangerous for its light-based attack. Plasma. Tarask. So, we can keep this one and be protected against shards as well. Go with the Mail of Kelgorm for the whatchamacallit. Which one was last? 28. So you know what? I'll do the two fights separately because they're not quite that easy. When you're a warrior, Sauron, you cannot put him in a rune trap, and Morgoth, you just really hide behind something so he hasn't got line of sight. You read a rune, you hit him as much as you can, and whenever he summons anything that can attack you on the rune or can break your rune, you read a banishment. And you hope that you have enough banishments to last through all of his summons. That's it. That's how you do it. So, and not quite as easy as you would want. Alright, see you all for the final fight. Bye-bye. Okay, so I didn't realize that the previous videos were really short, so I might as well finish it now. I have dropped all of the arrows because there's no point in keeping them. I'm using Cobra Gol. I've dropped a whole bunch of enlightenment. There's no reason of keeping them. I can also drop 10 of these. I have bought some Holy Chant and Holy Prayer from the shop, and I can just read them all. I don't really know how exactly they do stack, but they do stack in duration. And I can also buy, you know, if there's heroisms. They do increase slightly your hit chance and so forth to give you 5 points of armor class. Cure critical wounds, they're only really needed at this point for for blindness, because for everything else I'll be using healing. Actually, you know what? Let's throw them out. There's no point. If I have to cap, my rods are ready to go. If I have to cap my hit points, I'll use a healing. I'm not beyond wasting healing potions right now. And I'm already at 99 because I went down the stairs and then recalled. 1 enlightenment. There's a chest. I might as well go through the door instead of digging. Be mindful of the what does this stuff do? Healing, not needed. And I've decided on the site of slicing, not on the glaive of pain. It's heavier, and for 4.5 points of damage, 5 points of damage difference, it doesn't matter to me. What is Sauron? Oh, there he is. Okay. Speed. Failed again, obviously. slow. Okay, so this is what happens, right? Actually, in this particular occurrence, he did it instead of Morgoth. If I phase, I do not really want to phase anywhere here. I may need to teleport and then come back. He summoned every unique that he could. And these are all the ones that are left in the game. He's the one I'm concerned with. Because of his disenchantment breath, which is a high resist. So I can take a big chunk of that. Destruction. Okay, he's behind me, and somehow he's managed to come all the way up here and then follow me down. But good. Using more than one charge of slow does not slow them more, it just slows them for longer. Well, the plan is go find the Tarask. Go find the Tarask, teleport them, then kill the other guys because they're now conveniently all there. What the? Okay, this is the first time that I see him do that. He has the teleport level, and unfortunately I lost the I lost those uniques. I was more than happy to kill them. I should have probably prioritized that. Okay, we do not want to fight in a dungeon level where there's an undead pit. At least that we know of. There's one right there. And there's another one right there. But at least they're not aware of me right now. Keep 50% fail rate on these 27% fails, you know? I still have the blessed bonus. Potion, because he can mana storm. Rod. Again, rod. Again, rod at 20% fail. And the problem is that if it takes me a long time to dig through stone to go get him, he regenerates. And he regenerates quite fast. Let's try this. Those are the guys coming from the pit. go again. No, the random number generator works perfectly. Oh my god. I mean, it's not costing me anything, but potions of enlightenment at best. Okay, he's nowhere here. We'll try to go over there. Hopefully he'll catch up. He teleported again. Blessing still works, huh? Oh, look, we passed. We managed to activate a rod first try. That is ridiculous. Oh, but we failed at the 8% the slow monster. Of course we have. I was at 236. If I drink a 300 potion of healing, that leaves me still in mana storm range. And even though I move faster, I move a little bit faster than him. A really little bit. So it's absolutely not worth. Okay, Sauron is dead. And no drops. I mean, it's understandable at this point. We've had most drops already. I've 4 rods of healing. Well, we need to recall, go back. Close the blessing. Drop the staff of teleportation. We have a potion of special enlightenment for this guy. We do not need rods of detection. Okay, scrolls of banishment. We do not need magic mapping. We'll need mass banishment, and then the runes of protection. Okay. If you want it, you could throw away the rods of recall. Once you kill Morgoth, there's nothing else you need to do. 587. I think we'll be all right. Actually, you know what? Sorry, my mistake. I need one of these. I need one of these so that I can find the stairs. There they are. What's that? Punishment. One more. Okay, sure. And of course, it's a monster. Teleportation, don't care about it. Ring of speed, don't care about it. Let's go. Enlightenment. Morgoth is right over there, and I am right there. In this particular case, it doesn't really matter to me that we are in a wider room. I need to be on a rune, so the least time that he has line of sight to me, the better it is. So actually, right here, behind this wall, it's fantastic. And what can I activate? So Narya gives me protection from evil, right? Failed. Probably won't do anything. Vilya cures me. And even star restore life levels. There he is. Boink. 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 When you see the earthquake, it means he has broken the rune. Phase. Rune. We used 1 of 6 and we've done 2 ticks of damage. Cool. And use a rod. Rod are expendable. There is no set amount of time. Okay, this is a problem. I need to leave this room, unfortunately. Phase door. Because everything is packed with monsters, the phase door is not going to put me anywhere near. Okay. So if I rune here, he's gonna come, then come next to me, and they will follow and they will line up and they can still shoot me. I'll phase again. There's the Tarask, but actually this is not that bad. I'll first get the Phoenix and then get to the Tarask. One more heal, one more rune. The other rune should still be there, so if I manage to get next to it, pop another speed, and he's broken it. I melee better than you do, buddy. I am stronger. Because I got all sustains, so. And the other monsters around me, dragon. The other monsters around me have no chance of hitting me. Blind doesn't do anything, my guy. Healing, that was a mana storm. It doesn't tell me because I don't see it. Something screams loudly. You're hit by something. That's Oh, by the way, you'll see sometimes the hit points get red. When they do, you move slower. Not your character doesn't move slower. Your input into the game is slower. The game is designed in a way that it will slow down your input, give you some time to think, and make sure that you do not press buttons too quickly. You can change that. There is one of the options, the game options, that allows you to change that. One mass banishment. Another mass banishment. And that's it. Grand and the crown. And what does the Chainmail's Caspanion does? Intelligence, wisdom. The game just loves putting together intelligence and wisdom in case you're a mage priest. Poison and confusion. That's it. Well, not even taking it. Hey, Mr. Orc. Where are you going? No, no please. No law escape. So there's an option that you can change that. I forgot exactly where it is, but I think it's user interface or hit point warning, this one. So you can change that amount to go red earlier and slow you down earlier. Now, Obviously, I've got plenty of experience here. I know what to expect out of the game. I know what magical objects we're going to find. I know what monsters do. I know who's going to show up. I can tell straight away if I'm that close to the Tarrasque. It could happen that both the Tarrasque uses disenchantment and Morgoth uses Mana Storm. Or he can even, if I have resistance, I have immunity to fire, but he can use another attack breath. And because the numbers are so big and I don't have double protection, I could get hit by enough that to get him with Mana Storm, it kills me. This is not comparable anyway to playing with randomized artifacts. It's just the nature of the randomization that when you get to the artifacts, values tend to be thrown together more, well, randomly. But then you get the stuff and you pick and choose, and you find a weapon that maybe just has exactly what you're looking for. So it has a big hit dice and also has maybe extra attacks or slay evil. And then maybe it doesn't do anything else, but you don't need it to do anything else. Like the Glaive of Pain, it's designed to be a dumb weapon, right? And so you don't get a slay, you don't get a brand, but you do get those high stats. But a randomized artifact generator can generate those stats and then give it also slay evil or lightning brand, which is good on many of the endgame mobs, or acid or something like that. So all you really need to do is look what you get and pick the flowers out of the dung. And also the resists are a pain because we've got one instance of nether, one instance of disenchantment, don't have blindness, no longer have stun, don't have nexus. And okay, these really cool, but we had to struggle a long time and switch things around, and we're using egos instead of artifacts. And it's a lot of work to get here rather than just, finding a whole bunch of stuff going like, oh, this one's great. Look at that. +5 here, +4 there, +9 speed, and throw it together and you have these incredibly powerful characters. So my advice is go with Standarts. They are far better in every way because if they have any restrictions, that will be tied directly to the power level, not to the design of the artifact. It is going to be easier overall and a more pleasant experience. If you want to make the game harder, to say, well, but that does make the game easier, make it harder some other way. Play with a kobold. Play with a half orc. Half orc is, I used to play all the time, half orc rogue. Because it just doesn't work. But I thought, half orcs, they're bad humans, they're bad people. They're inherently of a bad race. Tolkien concept of race. So obviously they would steal, and therefore they're all rogues. And it just doesn't work really. It's not suitable. It doesn't do a good rogue. It makes it harder until you get to the end. At that point, everything's capped, and it doesn't really matter anymore. Then you're a half orc. You don't get anything special in exchange for being a half orc. You get like a point of strength. Do it like that. Make it that way. Make it harder, but don't go with these artifacts. Oh, by the way, the game has a built-in cheat, and it will allow you to create artifacts and so on. Or what you can do is just return home, Control C, yes, and when you do, sorry, not this. When you do the spoilers, do the artifact one, and it will allow you to show you all all the objects. But if you want to try to create a set, you absolutely can. And some things that are powerful do exist. You can create a character, I believe, that moves up to speed 70. I have done the same thing with a ranger, and I didn't have a resist nexus hole in my resistances. So the interesting ones are Ringil, which, as we said, is the sword of the High King of the Elves. 45, which is not a lot, because the maximum is 20. A Mace of Disruption has 5d8. But plus 25, good. You get plus 10 speed, and it does come with Slay Evil, which means that you then do 8d5 instead of 4d5. Otherwise, yeah, the damage output is not great. This Mace of Disruption, which is normally the go-to weapon, because you get 7d8 plus 18, and with Slay Evil you will do 14d8. That's better. 4.5 times 14, 456, 56 and a bit, 58, 58 plus 18. So 58, 78, 76 per blow. And you do get this massive plus 6 strength, which pretty much guarantees that you'll be capped. And you do get immunity to fire. So this is a good weapon if the dungeon manages to roll 443 in power rating. Because Grond, the thing that Morgoth uses, is 557. And instead, the great Hammer of Aule, the Smith of the Gods, has a power rating of 340, and so on. The Quarterstaff of Olorin, which would be Gandalf, has a power of 206. It's not easy for the dungeon to generate something like this. You get these two companion short bows, where one does... These are the stat sticks. So people will just use these only for the stats, which is plus 2 strength and constitution when you're a combat class, intelligence or wisdom at your choice, and dexterity when you're a mage class. You get this fairly average bow, Beltrondig, because plus 22 is cool, but 3x, and you do shoot at plus 1 speed, so it's kind of just like finding a good bow of Lothlorien, but overall the bow of Lothlorien will use armor less frequently. Ammo, yeah, it will burn your arrows less frequently to put out the same amount of damage. The longbow of Bard, which is just a Lothlorien, and I've seen him of higher damage scores than that. This crossbow that basically just does this, plus 10 speed. Obviously, the firebrand is great if you're lucky enough to get it at the start, because you will do more damage with just plain bolts. This one, I gotta say, it's nice, because high value here, pretty high value there. A little bit of strength and constitution never hurts, but then it's got aggravate, because the Corsairs of Umbar were evil people, so it's an evil weapon. And then here at the bottom you've got the 3 dragon armors, or the special armors. So Soulkeeper, because it has hold life. Wow, 90 basic is very high, so 110 points of armor class just for this is in fact very high. This set of artifacts considers plus 2 constitution to be a big boost to constitution, but it has Nexus, Nether, and Chaos, so I suppose if you couple this with a shield of permanence, or whatever it's called, then you get your resist this enchantment, and you're kind of done. Obviously, we found these on a cloak in the previous run through, and that's a lot easier to use and then swap in whatever armor is more suitable to you. We got this Razorback, which we said is not really better than the Ego armor that we found. Mediator, that doesn't have the base resists, but then gives you almost all the other ones, but without Nether. And then Blade Turner with a power of 800 that has everything. But basically, this is just a Power Dragon Scale Mail. Okay, so there are these objects called Power Dragon Scale Mail without the name next to it, and they do the same thing, meaning they have all resists, fear, blindness, and confusion. I do not know if they have these, and they certainly do not have the activation for Berserker Rage, Berserker, Bless, and Resistance, which is great because you get 2 separate and stackable bonuses and the additional resists to fire, cold, and so on. So it's fantastic to kill the Tarask and any dragon. However, the Power Dragon Scale Mails that you find in the dungeon, which are not the artifact, can also be Dwarven. So they can have a bonus of up to +2 in Strength and Constitution, or they can be of Speed. They can have a bonus of up to +5 of Speed. So it's without big stat bonuses is really not impressive, and stat bonuses are very important. Speed over everything else, stats after speed, and then you go down, because essentially when your stats are high enough you can then abuse that. You got a ton of hit points, maybe you don't need to resist things, you just heal afterwards. It's not a great tactic, it's better to actually resist and have everything else, but stats are very, very, very important. That's it. You do get obviously the one ring is in every set, so it doesn't matter what set you have, there's always going to be 3 objects generated in the same identical way, which are the One Ring, the Crown of Morgoth, and the Hammer of Morgoth. So those will always be there. Right, that's all. I'm just looking for any kind of suggestion, advice that you may have. Say, I'd like to see a bit of this, I'd like to see a bit of that. If you want me to be really bad at a variant, ask me to play a variant. I don't think I've played successfully any variants for. The only one I played is Tome, Tales of Middle Earth, which then was changed in name to Tales of El Majal or something like that, because they were worried that Tolkien Estate was going to sue them, and so they kind of try to make it disappear. But this is the internet, and nothing disappears. And actually, Tome 2, because there's Tome 2, Tome 3, and Tome 4, and I don't think that Tome 1 was ever released, or I don't know. But essentially, Tome, as I know it, Tales of Middle Earth, starts with 2. Then there was a brief iteration of 3, and then the maintainer was like, no, actually, this 3, forget about it, I'm gonna rework it all and made it into 4. So let's say there's 2 versions, version 2 and version 4. And version 2 is so much better. So much better. There's just no comparison. It's fantastic. It's a great variant. It's very unbalanced. There's an overworld, so you can go around the forests and so on. If you do start next to a dungeon, but it's a short dungeon, and then you need to travel to another city, and you can go to, well, they kind of mixed together various parts of the history of Lord of the Rings, so you can go to towns that don't exist anymore at the same time of the War of the Ring. They have different shops, they have different dungeons, there's quests where you need to do specific things, there's god powers, So it is way, 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 way more extensive as a game. It's, I would say, almost a role-playing game to the level of Dungeons and Dragons, AD&D, the more complex ones. It is highly unbalanced. There are a lot of classes, as I understand it, that get to be ridiculously broken. Like, I had, I think, a Hobbit Warrior that got 2 additional attacks, so I would attack 8 times per round instead of 6. And there's characters on the forums that have like 28 attacks per round. So they're just completely broken. It's much harder to play. The instructions are very, very, very big. There is an enormous amount of commands compared to Angband. It is in ASCII, although they make a better use of ASCII than Angband, I would say, because they kind of use the ASCII to draw things. And there's a combination of ASCII and tiles or things like that. So it's actually not too hard to see what's going on compared to just a screen of Angband and ASCII. People will think that your computer's broken. It's in color, like substantially more than Angband. I still think of Angband as kind of a black and white with those little tinges of the font being colored. But yeah, it's good, and I do have a copy of Tome 2.3.5, which apparently is being fixed about a year ago, or maybe I lost track of time, 2 years ago, and it should be a updated version of the old version that was actually better than the new one. You probably try that, but the thing is, I got nothing to teach anyone on that. As a matter of fact, I don't even know how to cast a spell or how to create a keybind. So not really the purpose of these videos to begin with. I would much rather if someone said, can you go through the list of monsters that we get on the first 20 dungeon levels, or can you do a run through of the spells that you've never used and see if you can explain what those are. Earlier I was looking for the chart that explains the speed. I've asked for it on the forums. I'm waiting for someone to reply to me if they still have it. I couldn't find it, but there is a chart that shows you a hidden value called energy and where your energy changes, so that you can actually tell if is there a difference between speed 41 and speed 44, for example. So when you play characters with higher speed, you do know that if you get to 35, you're fine. Even if you get to 30, you're fine. And you don't really need to know more than that. But sometimes you like to power play. And you say, how much better do I get if I put in yet another ring of speed plus 14? So, good to know. For a bit of a nerd. That's all. Let me know. I hope you liked it. I haven't really got much more coming. Or who knows, maybe I'll think of something later on. Bye bye.